I mentioned Bull not being superstitious before. And Bull, you have admitted on this show many times you don't believe in jinxes, you don't believe in superstitions, just not up your alley. So I'm curious what you think about some of the Cavs publicly admitting that the 11-0 start and the win streak is currently on their minds. After the Nets game, here's a soundbite from Kenny Atkinson and Darius Garland about playing the game while also having that win streak in the back of their minds.
Now it's like, yeah, you're thinking about it. Like normally, this is 11 games in. You're not thinking about a streak but tonight, you're like, man, you're thinking, I don't want it to end this way. You just, I don't know, does that motivate you more to win? I mean, we're competing and we're trying to win every game, but it's kind of weirdly in the back of your mind when you're out there competing. Like, man, we got to keep this thing going. So we're going to keep trying to do it.
I think it's in the back of our heads, low key, but we're not going to stress it. We know it's 82 games in the season, so one L is not going to really hurt us. We got bigger pictures, we got bigger plans. We're trying to win a championship. We're not trying to go 82-0. So a loss will be a loss, and just be ready for the next one. So we try to get a win for the next one. But to answer your question, it's in the back of my mind. I don't know about them. But, 11-0 is great. And if we come across a really good team and they have their night against us, they have their night. And we just got to get ready for the next one.
Yeah, I guess if you do believe in jinxes, maybe you don't like that. But I live in the real world, so I don't worry about those things. I love it. I love that they admit it. What I want as a fan, sometimes it feels like the fans care more about winning than the players do, right? There's some sense of that sometimes for fans. So our fans we're all excited right now. Normally we wouldn't be that excited about basketball in the middle of November. But there's something, I've said this for 2 weeks, I'll keep saying it till it ends. There's something special about a winning streak that makes your interest different, especially to start the season. The fact that the coach and two of the key players, I know Mobley didn't say anything there, but he was kind of nodding his head like, yeah, I agree.
He never says anything.
Never says anything. Right, yeah. It's the Nick Chubb of the Cavs. But the fact that they admit it, it's awesome because fans are excited, and I'm like, yeah, the players get it. They didn't say, oh, well, we don't pay attention to that. Because that's baloney when they say those things anyway. So I love the honesty, and I love that it means something to them because we all want this streak to continue. I want the Cavs to be 15-0 when they play Boston a week from tomorrow because that's going to be – that game's got to be on national TV, right?
If it wasn't, it'd be picked up.
Right? It is the TNT game, 7 o'clock tip.
Wonderful.
Right.
Wonderful.
I mean, like, how exciting would that be? And if they're 14-1, it's still going to be exciting, but it's not as exciting.
No. Yeah,
it's not as exciting as being 15-0.
Jay, are you surprised that they came out and said that? Because typically we want players to be more transparent. And no, they didn't embrace it like, hell yeah, this is huge for us.
Right.
It wasn't all in, but it was like, yeah, we know it's there, and we want it to continue.
Of course.
But we're also prepared that if we lose, we got a team on a good night, that we just try to put it behind us and get another win. I was a little surprised that the coach came out and said, yeah.
He's an open book, Jay.
I'm surprised by that.
Filter.
I'm just now learning that. Just now learning that. I had no idea what his personality was like before he got here, but I'm seeing that he is not afraid to embrace something like that. I'm not superstitious. I'm kind of stitious, a little bit. and I don't like to talk about that stuff when I'm involved.
Yeah.
But I don't mind talking about it when the teams are involved because I know one thing. They can't hear me.
Yeah.
So that's fine. Embrace it all you want. I think it's a great thing. And it fills a void that has been left by our Cleveland Browns.
Oh, sure. 100%.
So it's if they were 7-6 to start a season, we'd be like, okay, not what we thought. No. But they have helped us forget about what's going on.
100% true.
With the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah. It's human nature. Of course, they haven't lost a game all year. Of course they're going to be thinking about it. There's a difference between an 11-game winning streak in January, an 11-game winning streak to start the season. When you haven't lost all year, of course it's going to be on your mind. Of course you're going to think about it. It wasn't at 3-0 they didn't care about it. Probably at 5-0, 6-0 they didn't think. Now, after what they just did to the Warriors, of course they're thinking about it. And there's nothing wrong with that. They should be thinking about it. I've mentioned this before. The Warriors in 15-16 didn't set out to win 73 games. That was not the intent. But when it got to 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, of course you start thinking about, well, let's try and make a run at something like this. Let's make a run at this stuff. The only caveat I would give is you don't want to necessarily be playing your best basketball in November. So can they do this all year long? I don't know. I'm not going to bet against them at this point. But you just want to make sure that they're playing this well in April, May, and June over November. And also the other point on this is a young team that hasn't had a ton of success. Yeah, they won a playoff series last year. Yeah, they made it to the second round. But this is still a young team finding its way. This isn't a team coming off a championship like the Warriors actually were.
Sure.
Right.
They won a championship and then started 24-0. So this is all new to them. And they're going to embrace the success, and they're going to want to keep it going. I don't see anything wrong with that. We talk all the time about NBA teams don't take the regular season seriously. NBA teams don't play hard during the regular season.
Well, they are.
That team's playing their asses off right
I love
now.
it. As a fan, you got to. By the way, I was looking at all the teams that have started 11-0 and better, and most of them have at least gone to the conference finals. Number have won a championship or gotten the finals. But there were 2 teams that started 11-0 or better that lost in the first round of the playoffs. Oddly, you wouldn't have thought that. It was
How long ago
I think it was a long time ago. It was like an Atlanta Hawks team. I want to say maybe from the 80s or 70s or something, and one other. But most of the teams that have started this well have at least gone to the conference finals.
Mike wants to make a point here. Before you do quickly, I'll just take you back to the streak that the Warriors started the 15-16 season with. At about this point, it was already big news, but at about this point, I was in the Sports Center division. The first thing in our morning meeting was, how are we going to treat the Warriors? There was never a question what the lead story was.
Right.
It was just every single night they played, that morning before the game, it was the lead story. We had a guest, we had a writer from Golden State, or somebody that specifically followed that team. Then, of course, in the late Sports Centers that night, you led with the Warriors highlights.
Sure.
And then the next morning, you recapped it, and it was front of mind. And there was a point, and I can't remember where it was, I think it was in the mid to high teens, where some of our basketball analysts actually started advocating for a loss. And it's funny, now we have the benefit of the results. But there were guys in the room that were saying, these are meaningless games. This is a marathon, not a sprint. How much energy are you going to exude winning that 20th game in a row that might not show up in March, it might not show up in April, but it damn sure might show up in June.
I don't buy they lost the championship because of that.
There were guys that were convinced that that's why they lost.
Really?
There were guys that felt like, and now this is when you do the autopsy. Okay, so we've got the benefit of the results. The greatest team we've ever seen in a regular season didn't close it off. It was like the 07 or 08 Patriots, whatever it was, when they went 16-0 and didn't win the Super Bowl. There were guys that were in the moment in November and mid to early November were saying it's going to benefit them to lose, because once they lose, they're not going to be churning that windmill every single night as hard as they can.
Yeah. I actually 1,000% agree with that. 1,000% agree with that.
But you think the Warriors lost because
No.
of that?
They lost because Draymond kicked someone in the nuts and got suspended.
Yes, but there are all kinds of little things that lead to defeat.
Like,
there's just never one thing.
Sure.
I'm certainly not saying, and no one at ESPN and none of the analysts were saying that, but they were saying, guys, these games are meaningless. It's a marathon. You're going to need that energy in June.
Like, no one's worried about load management on 11 game. Like, everyone's playing. Everybody's available every night.
You're right.
And if they're 9-2, guys might be getting nights off.
Well, that's the thing. As soon as Golden State lost, they didn't go on a streak of losing games, but they saw they were playing differently.
Yeah.
They weren't using their guys' high number of minutes.
Right.
And you know this, we all know this, of all of the professional sports, the single most exhaustive grind, everyone thinks it's baseball, it's not. It's the NBA.
Yeah.
These guys are running miles every single night. Baseball players are not.
Right.
And the grind that it takes when you start in October and you end in June, particularly when you get high leverage minutes, if you don't have to play high leverage minutes in November, don't. And what makes you play high leverage minutes in November is when you start 11-0.
But first of all, there have been teams that have started this hot that have won the championship.
There have, but never 21-0.
No, sure. But, at this point, they've been good about the minutes. The minutes haven't been crazy.
They've been great.
They've been
They've done a really
terrific
good
about
job.
the minutes.
One
I
last
agree
thing
with
on
that.
this subject.
No, and
Mike
I got
has a
something on
point.
this subject
Yeah.
real quick.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
I think you guys missed the most important part of that whole soundbite. Steve, if you take it again. I'll tell you when to stop, but play it again.
Trying to do it.
I think it's in the back of our heads, low key, but we're not gonna stress it. We know it's 82 games in the season, so one L is not gonna really hurt us. We got bigger picture, we got bigger plans. We're trying to win a championship. We're not trying to go.
Stop it.
Trying to win a
How
championship.
how many times have we heard from the Cavs?
Right.
Our goal is to win a playoff series.
Right.
Right, our goal is now to win 2 play. This is the first time on record someone from the Cavs, player, coach, front office, has acknowledged that their goal is not simply, hey, to win another playoff round. This is a team that now believes they are a championship contender.
They should believe that.
And they should believe that. And that, to me, out of everything they said, and Bull, I agree with you. I love the fact they're acknowledging it. It's human nature. I have no issue with Jinx. I don't buy none of that. The fact that Darius Garland, who we've kind of joked about in the past, sometimes doesn't come off as the most mature guy. This year, I think he's taken massive steps forward in his maturity. To come out and say, if we lose a game, we lose a game. We're a championship team. We want to win a championship.
Right.
To me, that stuck out like a sore thumb because we haven't seen any kind of that talk, even from Donovan yet.
I missed that the first time. I didn't really focus in on that. But you're right, Mike.
That is good.
You're right.
Also, to your point, Jay, about like just being surprised that the coach would say that. If I were a player, I would want to play for Coach.
I agree.
That tells it like it is.
It's like Stephen Vogt saying at spring training. I asked everybody 24 is a success if. Right. Nobody mentioned World Series, and he said if we win the World Series.
Right. I want the guy to be honest. Yeah,
you know,
I like that. But
I like when the mountain that you're trying to take, the hill you're trying to take, is defined. You know,
right?
Like let's just go all in, and obviously, all of the NBA teams aren't starting the season saying that we want to win a championship. But this team is realistic enough to know that they've got the talent to contend with anybody.
That feels that way right now.
They've got the best record in the league. They're the last unbeaten team. They should believe they can win a championship
100%.
Because they can.
I agree.
One last thing, and then we're going to move to our schedule game to see if the Cavs can make it to 15-0. Two notes on the Cavs. Through 11 games, they haven't had the same leading scorer in back-to-back games. Here's how crazy that is. They've had a different leading scorer in every consecutive game. So Donovan hasn't led him twice in a row. Darius hasn't led him twice in a row.
Well, not 11 different leading scorers.
No. They have 4 different leading scorers. Can you name the 4 for funds real quick?
Mobley.
Correct.
Karis LeVert.
Incorrect.
Darius.
Darius
correct. Mitchell.
Correct. Can you name the 4th?
It can't be
Donovan.
Allen.
It's not Allen.
It's not Allen.
I'll
give you a hint. It was the second game of the season.
I don't remember the second.
I guess LeVert.
Dean Wade with 19 points.
damn.
Led the Cavs when they beat the Pistons.
Yeah.
And also tonight, they're playing the Bulls, and we're going to talk about that game in a second. The Bulls have one of the league's worst defenses, and the Cavs currently lead the NBA in points per game with 122.7. They lead the NBA in field goal percentage, shooting 53% as a team, and they lead the NBA in three-point percentage as a team at 42.5%.
That is the big. That's
Just stupid efficient number.
That and the fact that Mobley is shooting at 35% or whatever he's from 3.
They're the only team in the league I think shooting over 50%.
That is correct.
And you said they lead the league in 3, right? 3-point percentage.
They lead the league, correct.
I think Boston's made more. I think
Boston has
they're such a volume
threes.
shooting
Yes.
team.
Yeah.
They jack them up every possession.
Yeah.